Acrid smoke yanked Amelia from sleep. The glow through her window flickered orange, and the stench was unmistakable. Gasoline. She ran barefoot onto the frost-covered lawn. The barn was a roaring pillar of fire, the sky bruised black above it. Amelia bolted forward, screaming the names of her horses. Dusty, Shadow. The heat struck her face, forcing her back. The side door was swallowed by fire. From inside came the frantic whinny of her horses and the squawking of her chickens.
Help. Someone call for help. The barn, it's burning.
A fire truck screamed up the drive. Firefighters jumped out. But the barn was already a lost cause.
The horses. Please, you have to get the horses out.
A firefighter caught her arm. The roof collapsed with a deafening crack, sparks erupting into the night. The screaming stopped.
They're gone, all of them. And this fire didn't start itself.
She sank to her knees in the wet grass, the heat still at her back. In the distance, a pair of headlights sped away. The smell of gasoline clung to the air. By dawn, the barn was a black skeleton against a pink-gold sky. Amelia hadn't moved from the yard. She sifted through the wet ash with bare hands, searching for something, anything, to prove this wasn't an accident. Her fingers closed around a twisted lump of metal. A horseshoe, blackened and still warm.
This was intentional. Someone made sure nothing survived.
A department vehicle pulled up, and Fire Marshal Cole stepped out, clipboard in hand.
Miss Carter, I am with the Fire Marshal's office. Preliminary assessment suggests an electrical fire started in the loft.
Electrical? The barn's wiring was fine, and I smelled gasoline all night.
Ma'am, fire plays tricks on the senses. It's a tragic accident. I'd suggest focusing on the cleanup.
He's lying, but without proof. I am just a woman screaming into a void.
Cole climbed back into his vehicle and left. Amelia stood there, the horseshoe still in her grip, and felt the eyes of someone unseen. Later that morning, a black sedan rolled up the gravel drive. Mayor Gregory Harlow stepped out, his politician's smile already in place. Amelia turned from the ashes, her body rigid. She didn't offer a greeting.
Amelia, I heard about the fire. Just terrible. The whole town is shaken.
Is that why you are here? To offer condolences?
I am here because I want to help. With the barn gone, maybe it's time to reconsider that offer from Midwest Meats.
My answer hasn't changed. This farm isn't for sale, fire or no fire.
Think of the community, Amelia. Jobs, growth. Holding out now just looks stubborn.
I am not holding out. I am holding on to my home.
Well, I hope nothing unfortunate happens to make you change your mind. Good day, Miss Carter.
He didn't come to help. He came to see if I'd break, and he's not finished yet.
6 months earlier, long before the fire, an envelope with a corporate seal arrived in Amelia's mailbox. Inside was the first offer from Midwest Meats to buy her 90 acres. Polite, but insistent. The figure was generous by market standards, but market value wasn't what kept her rooted.
They can add all the zeros they want. This land belongs to my family.
She tossed the letter and went back to feeding her chickens. 2 weeks later, a second offer arrived. This time the numbers were higher, and it came with a personal visit from a company representative.
You can increase the zeros all you like. The answer is still no.
The representative's smile thinned. He warned that the company wouldn't wait forever.
Forever is fine by me. This farm has been a Carter's since before that company existed.
She shut the door on his retreating back, unaware that the next move would come from Shadows. Weeks later, a third offer arrived, the dollar figure now absurdly high. It came with an invitation to a special town council meeting. Amelia walked into the council chamber and saw the room packed. Gregory stood at the podium, already smiling.
Amelia, your farm sits on the perfect site for the new plant. Think of the jobs, the tax revenue. It's for the greater good.
The greater good? You mean your good? This land sustained my family for generations. I am not selling it for any check.
The crowd murmured, some nodding, others glaring. Gregory's smile finally cracked. After the meeting, she drove home and found her mailbox smashed to the ground. The wooden post snapped clean.
That's not an accident. That's a message. They want me to feel watched.
She stood there in the twilight, heart hammering, and realized the offers were over. Now it was threats. That night, she double-checked every lock on the house. Something was coming, and she had no way to see it yet.
I need to do more than lock doors. I need to see what's happening out there.
The next morning, she ordered 3 cellular trail cameras from an online retailer, shipped to a P.O. box under a fake name. No one would trace them. A week later, she sat at her kitchen table and unboxed the small black devices, each with infrared eyes and motion sensors.
No one knows I have these. That's the whole point of keeping quiet.
She took the first camera to the cottonwood tree near the road, climbing up with practiced ease. Her limbs remembering every branch, she strapped it to a high branch, angled toward the driveway, then covered it with bark until it vanished into the tree.
This one will catch anyone coming in. Exactly what I need.
The second camera she placed further back, overlooking the open field where the barn stood. The last she hid in a cottonwood by the creek, its lens aimed at the barn's north side, where the shadows pooled at night. She told no one. Not Sheriff Bishop, not her neighbor Ellis. The cameras were her silent sentinels.
Now, let them try something. I'll have their face, and when I do, the truth won't stay hidden.
2 days after the fire, Amelia sat in her kitchen, hollowed out by grief. The memory of those hidden cameras felt distant, unimportant. A familiar old pickup rumbled up the gravel drive. Ellis Weaver stepped out, hat in hand.
Amelia, I came soon as I heard. I am so sorry.
Thank you, Ellis. There's nothing left.
I wish I had better news. The night it happened, I saw a truck parked by your road. Didn't think much of it then, but now.
A truck? Whose was it?
I recognized it. It was Luke Harlow's. I figured he was just. I should have said something.
Luke Harlow, Gregory's son, and I have cameras that might have caught him.
The words hit Amelia like a jolt of electricity. The trail cameras, she had hidden them months ago and forgotten in the chaos.
Ellis, thank you. You might have just given me the only chance I have.
Amelia bolted past Ellis and out the door, her feet pounding across the scorched yard toward the cottonwood trees. The first tree by the road was a blackened trunk. The camera she had hidden there was melted into a lump of plastic.
Gone, just like everything else I had. But there are 2 more.
She sprinted to the second tree overlooking the barn's ashes. The camera dangled by a wire, its casing cracked, lens shattered.
2 down. The last one is by the creek. Please, let it have survived.
She reached the creekside cottonwood and climbed, her hands tearing at bark. The camera was there, intact, its small light blinking.
Thank God. The memory card is right here. Now I just need it to be readable.
She pinched the tiny memory card between her fingers, secured it in her palm, and scrambled down.
If this card is blank, I have nothing. But if there's a face on it, everything changes.
She burst into the farmhouse, breathless, and stared at the memory card in her fist. The truth, whatever it was, lived on that sliver of plastic. She slid the memory card into her laptop with trembling fingers, the drive whirring to life. The screen flickered and then showed a timestamp. 11:47 p.m., the night of the fire. Grainy night vision filled the frame.
There's the barn, and there are the headlights. My camera caught everything.
2 figures emerged from the darkness, carrying fuel cans. Their faces were shadowed, but the headlights caught their outlines. One man poured gasoline along the barn wall. The other lit a match and tossed it. Flames erupted instantly.
I know that build. That's Luke Harlow. And the other one, Jake Thornton.
She paused the video and zoomed in. The face that filled the screen was unmistakable. Luke Harlow, Gregory's son, grinning as the fire caught. She moved the cursor to the second man, Jake Thornton, the mayor's enforcer. His features were clear, lit by the growing inferno.
They burned my barn. They killed my horses for a meatpacking plant.
She leaned back, the footage frozen on that grin. The truth was a choking weight in her chest. Now she had to decide who to trust. She replayed the footage again, watching Luke's grin and Jake's glance, until the images seared into her mind.
Cole called it an accident. He had to know. He's either bought or threatened.
She thought of Sheriff Bishop, Gregory's hunting partner, who'd ignored every call she'd made.
I can't trust him. He'd bury this card before anyone saw it.
She paced all night, the memory card burning a hole in her pocket. Every option hit a wall.
If I hand it locally, it vanishes. If I stay quiet, they win.
By dawn, red-eyed and exhausted, she knew what she had to do, even though it terrified her.
There's only one move left. Drive to the state police and hope they listen.
She wouldn't call for backup or warn anyone. She'd carry the truth alone. The memory card felt heavier than a stone. Soon, she'd give it to a stranger and pray. She drove the hour without music, without coffee, without blinking. The state police post rose from the flatlands like a concrete promise. She parked, checked the memory card in her pocket, and walked inside with the gait of a woman who had nothing left to lose. Investigator Cruz, a woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice, gestured to a chair across from her desk. The room was quiet, official.
My name is Amelia Carter. 2 nights ago, someone burned down my barn. I have proof it was arson, and who did it?
What kind of proof? And why come here instead of your local sheriff?
Because the sheriff is loyal to the man whose son is on this footage. I have a trail camera video. Watch it.
Cruz inserted the memory card into her own laptop. Her face hardened as the grainy scene unfolded. The fuel cans, the match, Luke Harlow's unmistakable grin.
I am taking this as evidence. You did the right thing, but you need to know. This will shake your town to its core. Go home. Keep quiet about this meeting. I'll be in touch. And Amelia, watch your back.
For the first time since the fire, I believe someone might actually help. Now I just have to survive until they can.
3 days later, a black sedan rolled up the drive again, this time with Sheriff Bishop's cruiser right behind it.
They're here to rattle me. Stay calm. Give them nothing.
Amelia, we've heard rumors you've been poking around, asking about the fire. We're just checking in.
I've been burying my animals and shoveling ash. That's the only poking I've done.
We noticed you drove an hour out of town the other morning. Any particular reason?
Needed space from this town that buried me before the smoke cleared.
Just remember, Amelia, secrets have a way of turning dangerous. You sure there's nothing you want to share?
He knows something, but I'll be dead before I hand him even a clue.
The two men exchanged glances, then walked back to their vehicles without another word. The silence was heavier than any threat.
They'll be watching every move I make. I am more alone now than ever, but that also means I have nothing left to lose.
A week after Gregory's visit, Amelia's phone rang. The caller ID showed a state number. She answered with her heart in her throat.
Miss Carter, it's Investigator Cruz. We've traced the fuel cans used in the arson to a local hardware store. The purchase was linked to Jake Thornton.
Amelia gripped the phone tighter. The walls of her kitchen seemed to press in.
We also have enough to question Fire Marshal Cole about his false report. He's been covering for someone.
In a state interview room, Cruz placed the fire marshal's report on the table. Cole's face went pale.
We expect to present the case to a grand jury soon. Indictments are likely within weeks.
It's actually happening, but the town won't stay quiet when their golden boy goes down.
Amelia, the law's moving. But folks have known the Harlows for decades. They might not believe it, or worse, they might blame you.
I know, but I didn't set the fire. I just want the truth.
The countdown had begun. Amelia felt the weight of a town's loyalty pressing down, but she couldn't stop now. The grand jury returned indictments on a Tuesday. Luke Harlow and Jake Thornton were charged with arson in the first degree, aggravated animal cruelty, and conspiracy. State police arrested Luke at his father's house. He wore an expensive jacket and a smirk that said he still thought he'd walk. Jake Thornton was taken into custody at his job site, still in work boots. His face was pale. He knew the game was over.
They actually did it. The Harlow name didn't protect him this time.
The town square buzzed with disbelief. Some called it a setup. Others stayed silent, afraid to pick a side. Within hours, Midwest Meats issued a statement, withdrawing all plans for the plant. The scandal had made the deal toxic.
It's over, but now they'll blame me for killing the jobs too.
Her phone rang constantly. Reporters, angry townspeople. She unplugged it and sat in the silence. The town split in two. Those who saw justice and those who saw a witch hunt. Amelia was at the center of the storm.
This isn't the end. Gregory is still out there, and he'll be desperate, but I am not running.
Under the weight of scandal and a state investigation, Gregory Harlow resigned at a hastily called press conference. His smile was gone. Jake Thornton, facing decades, took a plea deal and confessed to everything. He named Gregory as the conspirator, who ordered the intimidation. State police arrested Gregory Harlow that afternoon. They led him out in handcuffs from his own home, his silver hair disheveled. Amelia watched the news coverage from her kitchen, the screen casting a cold glow on her face.
The man who tried to bury me is in a cell, but Dusty, Shadow, they're still gone. This doesn't bring them back.
The victory tasted bitter. She had won, but the farm was still empty, and the town was still divided.
For weeks I fought for this. Now all I feel is the silence where my horses used to be.
Outside, the town was a patchwork of shame and denial. Some called her a hero. Others whispered she'd gone too far.
I didn't do this for gratitude. I did it because nobody else would. But now I don't know if I belong here anymore.
She shut off the television and sat in the dark. Justice had been served, but the healing hadn't started, and she wasn't sure it ever would. Weeks passed. Amelia walked her fields every morning, the scorched earth slowly greening. She spoke to no one. Then Ellis's pickup rumbled down her drive again, its engine a familiar, hesitant knock.
Amelia, I've been listening. The town's ashamed. They want to make things right.
Make things right. They stood by while my animals burned, while I was threatened.
I know, and it's not enough. But they want to raise a new barn, together, for you.
A barn raising, like the old days. But can I trust them?
She looked past Ellis, to the blackened beams still lying in the field. The silence of the empty barn site pressed on her.
Dusty and Shadow deserve more than this empty field. Maybe this is how I honor them. All right, Ellis, tell them they can build, but I'll be watching.
She agreed not out of forgiveness, but for the land and for the animals that were taken. The healing, if it ever came, would have to be earned. Saturday, Ellis Weaver filled the community hall. Every chair was taken. He climbed the stage without notes, gripping the lectern like a plow handle.
I've farmed here 50 years. I know the Harlows, but Amelia is our neighbor, and we let her barn burn.
The crowd shifted. Some faces hardened, but no one spoke.
We raised that barn, or admit we're no better than the men who lit the match.
A man in front stood and walked to the volunteer sheet. Then another. Soon, a line formed. A few Harlow loyalists scowled, but they were drowned out by scraping chairs. Amelia stood against the back wall, arms folded. She didn't move or smile.
Some mean it. Some just want to be seen on the right side. The real test comes when the hammers start.
She slipped out before the meeting ended. The cold air stung. The town had spoken. Now they had to prove it. Before sunrise, the first trucks rolled in. Pickups loaded with lumber, men in work boots, women carrying tool belts. Ellis was already there, dragging the last charred beams out of the ash. When he saw the crowd, he nodded once and kept working. Amelia stood on the porch, coffee untouched. The scene blurred against the wreckage still living in her chest.
I know half these faces. Some whispered I deserved what happened. Now they're swinging hammers for me.
By mid-morning, the framing was up. The skeleton of the barn rose clean and straight, posts set deep in fresh concrete. A young man who once ran errands for Luke showed up with a level and a guilty look. Ellis put him to work without a word. The sound of hammers rang out. No speeches, no ceremony, just the steady rhythm of rebuilding.
It's just wood and nails, but it's the first good thing to happen on this ground since the fire.
She stepped off the porch, picked up a nail gun, and walked to the studs. No one stopped her. No one stopped her. No one stared. By sundown, the roof trusses were in place. For the first time in months, the sky through the rafters looked like a promise, not a threat. A week later, the red paint was dry, and the doors swung on new hinges. The Carter barn stood whole again against the flat sky. Neighbors filled the yard with casseroles and jugs of sweet tea. Somewhere, a fiddle started tuning. Children chased each other around the new posts, their laughter cutting through months of heavy silence. Amelia wandered through, accepting quiet thank yous. Some offered half-formed apologies she didn't need to hear finished. Ellis found her near the barn door. Without a word, he wrapped his arms around her, the way a father holds a child who's been lost.
I didn't know I needed this until now. The grief hasn't gone. It's just found a place beside the hope.
For the first time since the fire, Amelia smiled. It was small, fragile, but it held.
They did this, not for profit, not for show. Maybe some guilt, but maybe also because this is what neighbors do.
The celebration stretched into dusk. Lanterns swayed from the barn eaves, and the smell of fresh-cut wood mixed with the prairie wind. She stood on the porch, watching the town she'd almost lost. Tomorrow she would make a choice no one expected. As the celebration shifted to lantern light, Amelia climbed onto a hay bale and raised her hand. Every face turned.
I want to thank you for this barn. It stands because you chose to stand with me, and I won't forget that. But this fight showed me how fragile one person's claim to land can be. I never want another neighbor to face what I did, so I am donating 50 acres of my farm to a community-owned cooperative trust. Permanent, protected, for everyone.
A collective gasp swept the yard. Then, a single whoop from Ellis, and the whole crowd erupted. Strangers embraced her. The applause drowned out the fiddle. Someone shouted for a speech, but Amelia just shook her head. Then, from the barn door, a wooden sign was carried out and planted in the earth. Carter Cooperative Farm Trust. For a long moment, Amelia stood before the sign, her hand resting on the fresh-cut wood. This land was no longer hers alone.
No one can ever be squeezed out like I was. Not on this ground. That's the real victory.
The celebration roared on into night, but Amelia slipped away to the porch, watching the town she had fought. And finally, the town that had fought back. The next few mornings, Amelia walked her land alone. The new barn a red anchor on the horizon. She stopped at the place where her horses fell, where she'd found the charred horseshoe. Now clover had begun to grow. She knelt and placed a small bouquet of wild flowers on the grass. No tears came, just a quiet exhale into the wind.
You deserved better. This land will never forget you, and neither will I.
Back in the farmhouse, she opened a small wooden box on the kitchen table. Inside already rested the blackened horseshoe. From her pocket, she took the memory card, the sliver of plastic that had held the truth, and set it beside the twisted metal. She closed the lid and held the box to her chest. The evidence was now a memorial.
I don't need to watch it anymore. The truth has already changed everything.
At sunset, she stood at the edge of the trust land and watched the light pour over the fields that would never be sold. She stayed there until the first stars appeared. Not guarding, not fighting, just free. The trust sign stood at the field's edge, weathered by rain but rooted firm. At sunset, Amelia walked to it alone, the new barn a red silhouette on the horizon. She ran her palm over the carved letters. Carter Cooperative Farm Trust. The wood was warm from the day's sun. The land around it rolled green and gold. She looked out at the fields that would never be bought or burned again. Then she spoke, her voice low but clear, as if talking to the soil.
This land belongs to no one. It belongs to everyone.
The words hung in the still air. The sign seemed to listen. Darkness crept up from the east, but the sign held its shape against the fading sky. And as night claimed the field, the sign still stood, a beacon for everyone who would come after.